It was always fashionable for today's artist to reinvent himself every few years, really. He was a renowned musical shapeshifter. But global pop star sellout? That's a title that he didn't want. Yet that's exactly what many fans and critics were thinking when his 1983 hit reached #1. But like it or leave it, there's no doubt this single marked a major turning point in this musician's career. So what do you think? Was this artist's mainstream moment a rebrand for the MTV generation? Or did he really sacrifice art for fame? The story is coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you've ever held up a real lighter at a concert when they played the ballad, this channel will definitely resonate with you. Nostalgia all the time. Make sure that you subscribe below right now and click the bell so that you're always in the know about the latest interviews. We also have a Patreon that you're going to want to check out. There you're going to find even more footage behind the scenes. You can also become an honorary producer, and that helps us to keep this going. Today, we're starting a new show on our channel. We're going to call it Career Suicide. This is where we break down an artist, a song, or an album that took a major risk and pushed the boundaries or lost ground, but always makes for a great story. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's the fun of these moments, these stories in these artists' lives. So today we're covering the title track from an album that really polarized two generations of fans due to its pop-centric approach. It's Let's Dance by the late great David Bowie. So in the early 80s, after the release of his 14th studio album, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, David Bowie was looking to reinvent himself. This wasn't uncommon at all for rock's notorious changeling. He had already passed through several iterations throughout his career. Bowie was once again feeling his sound was really becoming static, and he wanted a new direction. Scary Monsters had done well in the UK. Ashes to Ashes went to #1. Fashion reached #5. And the title track landed #20. But now his sights were dominance. Bowie laid the groundwork for his new era of commercial conquest when he collaborated with Queen in 1981 to issue Under Pressure. And then in 1982, he teamed up with Giorgio Moroder and did Cat People, Putting Out Fire. And I've been putting out fire. So at the end of 1982, Bowie approached longtime producer Tony Visconti. In anticipation, Visconti cleared 3 months of his calendar for David Bowie. However, before this reunion were to take place, there was a chance meeting. While sitting in the back of a New York after-hours club, Bowie would meet a new muse. Famous American producer, funk guitarist, and Chic co-founder Nile Rodgers. And the two struck up a conversation. It was actually a meeting that almost didn't happen because by his own admission, it took Nile 20 minutes to realize that it was David Bowie that was sitting across from him. Said Rodgers, "I was expecting, Ziggy Stardust, and I failed to recognize this average-looking guy sitting quietly at the bar." But as the two artists spoke, they soon realized that they had a lot in common. Both loved rhythm and blues. Found my thrill. And looked to some of the same artists as foundational influences. As Bowie thought about it, he realized that it could be a lot of fun to work together, which is exactly what Bowie proposed. So Rodgers was in and Visconti was out, which he actually didn't find out until like 2 weeks after David had started working with Nile Rodgers. In the fall of '82, Nile Rodgers flew to Switzerland to stay with David Bowie in his home, the Chateau du Signal. Hope I said that right. Rodgers really wasn't sure what to expect at that point, but he knew that he'd been brought out to really give David a hit. Said Rodgers, "When I got to Switzerland, he told me that he wanted me to do what I do best. Nile, I really want you to make hits." And I was sort of taken aback because I'd always assumed that David Bowie did art first. And then if it happened to become a hit, so be it. What happened next is pretty comical. Now, as we get into that particular story, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. You know what? Zennis are light, compact, stylish, and cool. When you create your own look at Zenni.com, all of a sudden, these frames become a part of your newest style. Make sure to go to Zenni.com. All you do is choose your glasses, the color, the shape, the size, and you do a virtual try-on to see how you look before you buy. You put in your prescription, your address, and you have them in no time. Now, on his first morning there, Niall woke up to find David peering over him in bed. He was holding an acoustic 12-string guitar minus 6 strings. He proclaimed, "Niall, darling, I think this is a hit." Bowie then played a 2-chord folk tune. He hummed a few words and said, "I want to call this song Let's Dance." The only problem was it sounded nothing like a dance song. And Nile Rodgers hesitated. He thought that David Bowie might be hazing him on his first day. Niall said he was thinking to himself, "Whoa, dude, I come from dance music and you can't call that thing that you just played Let's Dance." But Niall opted to doubt his doubts and asked if he could do the arrangement. David gave him the go-ahead, and so they got to work. Said Rodgers, "If I was going to make hits, I could only use the formula I knew, which was, you call a song China Girl, it better sound Asian. You call a song Let's Dance, you damn well better make sure that people can dance to it." By the time the King of Funk finished rearranging this folk tune into a danceable demo, Bowie knew that he had made the right choice in producers. Impressed by what he heard, he rounded up some local musicians and he recorded the demo. Put on your red shoes. Bowie got excited. That's it, I got it. This song was going to top the charts. Bowie booked studio time at New York's Power Station. That was in December of '82, and they started into Let's Dance as soon as they got there. Said Rodgers, "My instinct to start with Let's Dance really paid off. We cut the song in 1 or 2 takes, and it set the tone for the rest of the album." The song was going to be a major hit, and we all knew it. David relaxed into my team's capable, wickedly creative, loving hands. But if David had been pleased with Rodgers' demo, he was even more ecstatic with the song after it had received some production polish. The song was saturated with hooks. For instance, Rodgers tapped the Isley Brothers' famous vocal stylings from Twist and Shout, and they used it to become an unforgettable lead into the song. Also, after each phrase of the verses, Rodgers inserted a short brass section. That part was inspired by Henry Mancini's Peter Gunn. But perhaps the song's most effective hook is the simple repetition of the words "Let's dance" and "Let's sway." These phrases coalesce into a call and response pattern with the song's instrumentation. Now, that combination is so catchy that it just grabs you from the start and doesn't let you go until the song fades into silence, really. Now, another critical contribution for the song, and really the rest of the album for that matter, that came by the way of Texas guitar virtuoso, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Bowie had met Vaughan the year before at the Jazz Festival, and the two had talked music for hours, and then, they went their separate ways. But months later, Bowie surprised Vaughan and asked him to consider working on his new album. Let's Dance would be Stevie's big break, and afterward, he and his group Double Trouble, they would sign a record deal with Epic. As for Let's Dance, Stevie's contribution was an irresistible rock flavor and blues influence to the song, as well as the memorable solo. So you had the chameleon of art rock doing a dance song with a blues guitarist. It was a big risk, but if anyone could pull it off. Said Bowie, Stevie strolled into the power station and he proceeded to rip up everything one thought about dance records. In a ridiculously short time, he had become midwife to a sound that I had ringing in my ears all year long. Now, as for the meaning of Let's Dance, that's a little harder to pin down. For all its radio-friendly singability, there does seem to be some darker nuances indicating there's something more happening behind just dancing with a lover. For instance, Rogers said, when David wrote those lyrics, he was talking about the dance that people do in life, the conceptual dance of not being honest. He sings, put on your red shoes and dance the blues, like you're pretending to be happy, but you're really sad. On the other hand, Bowie has also described this song as positive, emotional, and uplifting. Said Bowie, I tried to produce something that was warmer and more humanistic than anything I've done for a long time. Less emphasis on the nihilistic kind of statement. So maybe it's both menacing and cheerful. Wouldn't be the first time. Leave it to Bowie to pull off that kind of ambiguity. But what do you think? Is this a happy-go-lucky sort of pop song, or is there something darker swimming beneath the surface? Let us know in the comments. In making the album, Nile Rodgers described himself as the Terminator. He knew Bowie wanted to make hits, and he wasn't going to stop until his mission was complete. Not only was the end result impressive, also the speed at which it was finished was really impressive. It only took 17 days for the new partnership between Bowie and Rodgers to record and mix the entire album. Said Nile Rodgers, almost everything was one take. Stevie Ray Vaughan played almost everything in a matter of a couple of days. David sang all of his vocals on the entire album in a matter of 2 days. The efficiency just blew Nile away. Aside from the title track, the record included the singles Modern Love, China Girl, I could escape this feeling, and also Without You. Without you. Also of note was a cover of Metro's Criminal World by Metro. And a rock rearranged version of Cat People, Putting Out Fire. Let's Dance, the album, that was released on April 14, 1983 to unprecedented commercial success. As for the title track single, Let's Dance was one of Bowie's fastest selling singles. It entered the UK singles chart at number 5 on its first week of release, and it stayed at number 1 for 3 weeks. And soon after that, it went to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 charts. It was actually Bowie's first and only single to top the charts in the US and the UK, and it was only his second to reach number 1 in the US. Of course, the other one was Fame in 75. Internationally, Let's Dance reached number 2 in Australia, France, Germany, Austria, and South Africa. But that's only the tip of the iceberg because it went to number 1 in Canada, Sweden, Belgium, Spain, Switzerland, Norway, Finland, Israel, Ireland, New Zealand, and the Netherlands, all over it. This was his biggest hit internationally for sure. But the title track wouldn't be the end of Bowie's Let's Dance success. I mean, the second single, China Girl, that broke the top 5 in a lot of countries. It went to number 2 in the UK and Ireland and the Netherlands. Went to number 10 here in the Billboard Hot 100, and it went to number 3 on the US mainstream rock chart. My little China girl says. And then the third single, Modern Love, that did just as well internationally, and it once again grabbed the number 2 spot in the UK. Also hit number 14 here in the Hot 100, and it was number 6 on the rock charts. However, Bowie's newfound commercial prosperity would prove to be a double-edged sword. Through the success of the album, it did launch him into global superstardom in a popular way, not that he wasn't already an icon. But it had a diminishing effect on him as an artist. For once, critics felt the record's defining feature was not its artistic merit, but its professional polish. Subsequently, Let's Dance has become a point of some contention among the ranks of the Bowie faithful. By the old guard, it was viewed as one of Bowie's least challenging albums. Many wondered if he was just coasting, playing it safe, or if he'd become a caricature of himself just to appeal to the rising MTV generation. A lot of people saw it as career suicide. In the years since, that proved to be over-exaggeration. I remember so many saying that he sold out. And, this is somewhat of a tired tale. It seems like every first-to-the-scene fan base starts to grumble when their underground icon goes mainstream. Morrissey fans said the same thing. Longtime fans simply don't want to share their secret with the rest of the world. That's not to say that there wasn't any merit in their accusations. I'm just saying it wasn't exactly a unique position. But given the enormity of Bowie's popularity, when it came to sharing, they really didn't have a choice. The dancing, bleached blonde MTV pop star version of Bowie was drawing in legions of new fans, and more specifically, younger fans. Subsequently, many were unfamiliar with Bowie's earlier work and had no qualms with Bowie's pop-centric trajectory. But in David's defense, Let's Dance was so much bigger than he had anticipated. Yes, he wanted hits, but when he realized the price it would be extracted from him, the loss of his artistic credibility, he started having second thoughts. Bowie the pop artist lasted for 2 more albums. Even so, his newfound megastar status never sat comfortably with him. Neither of these 2 following albums came close to the commercial heights of Let's Dance. 1984's Tonight and 1987's Never Let Me Down are frequently cited as the low points in Bowie's career. So he did pay a price, and there was positive and negative as the years passed. Bowie began to really distance himself from Let's Dance and the aftermath of that album. Later he would say, after Let's Dance, I succumbed. I tried to make things more accessible. I took away the very strength of what I do. By the end of 1987, Bowie was worn out, really. He was disillusioned. The pressure and expectations of being a pop phenomenon had become really heavy. Too heavy for Bowie to bear. So seeking anonymity, he once again reinvented himself with a new project. He joined the band Tin Machine as just another member. Now, far from the siren call of the mainstream machine, Bowie finally found some measure of relief. Tin Machine's music was, rough, jagged, brash, and most of all was very uncommercial. Bowie was making a point. More than anywhere else, he belonged on the outside looking in. Although Bowie may have taken some purposeful steps back from the pop star spotlight, his hit Let's Dance never did. In fact, it's been showcased in a number of movies and TV shows through the years. It was in Private Parts in 1997, Zoolander in 2001.
I believe I might be of service.
With a cameo from Bowie himself, Shall We Dance in 2004, Arthur and the Invisibles in 2006. Eagle vs. Shark in 2007.
Let's dance, put on your red shoes and do.
We Own the Night in 2007. Charlie Wilson's War, The Messenger, Parenthood, all those in the mid-2000s. Billionaire Boys Club in 2018, and Let 'Em All Talk just a few years back. In terms of attracting the attention of cover artists, there's a long list here as well. For starters, David Bowie performed Let's Dance with Tina Turner in 1988. It was also covered by the Smashing Pumpkins in 1998. Matchbox 20's Rob Thomas did it in 2005. Walk the Moon in 2011. Ween in 2011. Chic featuring none other than Nile Rodgers in 2013. Adam Lambert did it. Duran Duran, Simon Le Bon in 2017. Jimmy Fallon did it on SNL. And Boy George and Culture Club did it just recently. You know, in the end, David Bowie, the artist, took a risk by embracing the mainstream and writing to that. The risk paid off commercially, but it cost him critically, and it did have an impact on his approach through the rest of the decade. But in my opinion, it was definitely worth the wager. David Bowie proved that he could always forge a new path in music, put on his dancing shoes, and compete with the pop icons of any era by matching them hit by hit. He could do anything he wanted and succeed, whether artistically or commercially, and not many legends can live with one foot in both worlds so seamlessly. Leave us a comment about David Bowie and Let's Dance. Did Bowie sell out, or was he just reworking his sound to appeal to a younger generation? Let us know in the comments. Let's have a great discussion. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other Bowie installments, including Heroes and Under Pressure. And if you like our content, we invite you to subscribe so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Your support really does go a long way in helping our mission of keeping the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.